12,606 people here tonight, and a gate of 3.26 million. I know you guys like hearing fight of the night. The guys who got fight of the night was Hughes and Sarah.
Sorry.
Obviously, knockout of the night is Lyoto Machida. Submission of the night was Brock Larson. Great card. Let's just get it going here. Who's first? Who wants that? Go ahead, Kev.
Lyoto, congratulations. I wanted to ask you about the finish when you landed the left hand to send Rashad into the cage. You know, maybe a couple of years ago you wouldn't have chased him and you would have been more cautious, but tonight it seemed like you were very aggressive and really went in for the finish. Was it because of a change in style or because you understood that he was badly hurt?
Além de aumentar a minha agressividade, um trabalho de força também, condicionamento, eu acreditava no que eu podia. Então, quando eu senti que o golpe entrou, eu disse, eu vou terminar a luta, eu tenho que acabar agora. Entendeu? Então, eu continuo acreditando e deu certo.
It's a little bit of a combination of, yeah, I've been training with a new physical trainer and I've also been working on being a lot more aggressive. But at that particular moment, as soon as I hit him and I felt that he felt it, I knew in my heart that right then was the time that I had to go in and finish the fight, and that's what I did.
And Dana, I wonder if you can comment on that, because that's been a situation where he's been criticized for not finishing and being cautious, and obviously tonight, he did a great job at that. And I just wondered if you could give us your thoughts on the way he finished it.
Yeah, I've been saying it. I mean, anybody who's done interviews with me has heard me say, I think this kid needed to, feel comfortable in the octagon, and I think he got over that hump, and he's been finishing. I mean, he finished Sokaju, he finished Silva, and now Rashad Evans, a guy who's never been knocked out even when he was fighting at heavyweight. He looked about. I'm serious. I was blown away by his performance tonight. Absolutely blown away.
Yeah. Now with those big finishes, Mr. Machida, with the big finishes, all of us looked at each other and said scary. That's all we said. Do you think intimidation is going to be part of your game plan from now on?
Não, eu acho que não. Eu acho que eu apenas sou um pouco diferente, né? Todo mundo tem um background de jiu-jitsu, de muay thai, boxe. Eu sou do karatê, então as pessoas ficam um pouco. É um karatê. Eu sou do Machida karatê, então é diferente, né? Então é por isso que as pessoas às vezes não sabem como entrar em mim. Não é questão de medo.
I don't necessarily think that. I don't think intimidation will be a factor. It's just really their styles. It's hard to match up with Machida karate. That's my base. Some guys have a base in jiu-jitsu, some have a base in Muay Thai. My base is in Machida karate, and it's a difficult style to understand.
You're a guy that this is only your 15th fight, so you're still relatively young. And as good as you look tonight, obviously, how much better can you get?
E a cada luta eu procuro melhorar, entendeu? Porque agora que eu me tornei o campeão, agora sim que eu tenho que melhorar. Porque cada luta eu volto para casa, meu pai corrige o que eu errei nessa luta, junto com meus irmãos. Então isso que me faz melhorar. Então eu sou novo ainda, quero mostrar o meu potencial aí e eu estou me preparando para isso.
He says, now that I became the champion is when the real work begins. My goal is always to go out there and become a better fighter every time I step in the octagon. And now with the title, it's even more responsibility to do that. So what I'll do is I'll go back home. My father will analyze the tapes with my brothers and see the mistakes that I've made and try to improve, because my goal is every time I step in the octagon to improve as a fighter.
Dana, I know that you knew that it was good, but did he surprise you?
No, we've always thought, we bought the WFA to acquire his contract and Rampage's. We've always thought this kid was talented, and usually what happens, like I said earlier, guys get into the UFC, start to feel comfortable, and I knew it was going to be scary when he started to feel comfortable. But again, tonight's performance was unbelievable.
Last thing, this is kind of off the wall, but Matt, just because you're kind of the senior guy here that's been around so much, did you get to see his fight, and if so, what are your impressions of his skills?
Yeah, he's good, obviously real good. I didn't get to see a lot of it. I got to saw the knockout, but I didn't get to see it much. The thing he's got going for him, he's very different. If I was going to fight somebody like him, I would bring 2 or 3 karate guys in. His head's back, his legs are kind of forward. Obviously good on the ground, good wrestler. He defended Tito's shots, so he's kind of the total package. I don't. It was only the second round, so his cardio never got tested. So I mean, that's the only piece of the armor that I didn't
Some
see
comments
tested.
that you'll be the next Bruce Lee. So, you have any intentions of starting some movies, doing some movie career?
Oh, God. Say no, please.
No. I focus in UFC. I wanna to keep champion and to stay belts for a long time.
Tito's new movie's coming out. Get that.
Is Rampage Jackson still going to get the first crack?
Yes.
Lyoto. And for Lyoto, your first title defense is going to be against Rampage Jackson. When you look at his style as opposed to Rashad, do you see any similarities or do you see differences that you think you can exploit?
Não, eu vou treinar diferente, porque cada lutador tem as suas qualidades e seus defeitos, né? Então eu vou bater em cima do defeito do Rampage. Vou bolar a estratégia em cima disso.
Every fighter, I have a different strategy in my training because every fighter has different weaknesses. So my goal is to study his weaknesses and try to capitalize off his mistakes.
Some of the best business UFC's done is when you've had kind of a dominant champion in different weight classes, Matt and George and people like that. Do you feel like Lyoto's there yet?
Yeah, he's definitely there. Obviously, the way he beat Rashad Evans tonight was very impressive, and he gets better every time he fights. Yeah, it might be the Machida era right now.
Always booed loudly. Tonight, before the fight and even after the fight, he received a lot of cheers. And it seems that at a time they were about to embrace him, he did lose. But I don't know if that's because, why do you think that was the case? Was it because of his recent performances? And is that a message, to other fighters that it's important to put on good fights?
I think he's going through one of those things. He's had a couple of his moments where he does, stuff that the fans don't like. But, I think the hardest part for the fans right now is seeing some of these big stars get beat. You know what I mean? You got him coming in and beating Forrest and beating Chuck the way that he beat Chuck. And, the fans felt that way about Rampage at first when he knocked out Chuck. I think people respect him as a fighter, and Rashad's one of the nicest guys you could ever meet. He's a good person, great family. He's a good guy.
Vulnerabilities in Rashad's game. What were those vulnerabilities, and did you feel that you were able to exploit them in the fight?
Não é que eu tenha visto. Na verdade, eu treino muito em cima do tempo da luta, né? Então eu sei a hora que o cara tá, que chama de KO, que o cara tá num estado que não tem defesa. Então eu fico olhando, todo mundo tem isso. Então eu fico procurando essa brecha. Então eu treino em cima dessas brechas, onde o cara dá esse KO para mim, esse tempo de entrada.
It's not that I saw that he was making mistakes or vulnerable. It's just that in my karate, it's a time called a kyo, which basically means when your opponent has no defense. So what I did is I studied to make sure that I attacked right at the correct kyo, and that's exactly what I did. I timed his mistake properly.
How do you spell Kyo?
This amazing style that you bring to the octagon. If you were given the opportunity to be on The Ultimate Fighter, would you like to share that wealth with would-be Ultimate Fighters?
Gostaria, né? Mas isso aí é... Dana is the boss.
He said he'd like to, sure, it would be great. But, Dana's the boss.
You mentioned Machida karate a lot, and seeing your family around reminds, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but reminds me at least a lot of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of having family around for your career?
A família realmente é o meu suporte, né? A minha família, meu pai, meus irmãos, eles que realmente dão o meu suporte para eu poder mostrar a técnica aqui. Então, assim como a família Gracie também, eles mostraram dessa forma, né? A gente mostra também, só que a gente mostra através do karatê, né? E eles mostraram através do jiu-jitsu.
He says that the biggest support I have is my father and my brothers. They're the ones that enable me to show what I show inside the octagon. So similar to the way the Gracie family, the family is the core of everything that we do. So the only difference is that we're showing it through karate, and the Gracies showed it through jiu-jitsu.